If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Greater Coosa Valley Chamber of Commerce Director Tom Roberts joins us this morning, and man, what a blur it has been, brother.
Oh, I'll tell you what, the older we get, the faster time moves, but I'm still working on Thanksgiving. We've got a lot to be thankful for, and still some leftover food, as much visitors as we had and everything we ate. It's been a wonderfully busy time, and it's not slowing down. We've got a lot going on for the holiday season throughout the greater Coosa Valley area.
Before we go any further, thanks to everyone who made the lunches such a success over at Reach of the World Bible Church and Safe and Grace Baptist Church in Childersburg, among other associations that were feeding people on Thanksgiving Day. And man, that was a busy time too.
Absolutely, and that's one of the most heartwarming things that I've ever been a part of. I've cut turkeys, I've delivered meals, and all sorts of things like that. But the biggest thrill is when you knock on the door and come inside and give a meal to someone who otherwise probably wouldn't have anybody knocking on their door that day. That is one of the most heartwarming feelings, and to me, that's what it's all about, along with the community coming together, the long lines of families that are waiting, not so much to eat, but to pick up meals and boxes and take them out and deliver them to people. And that's something that and like the decorating of downtown Childersburg, those kind of things that bring a community together and give us commonality, those things are vitally important to an area and its commerce. And it points out that together we can do so much, and we need to keep that ball rolling as far down the hill as we can get it, Jimmy Dale. That's something that's important.
So what's going on now with the Coosa Valley Chamber of Commerce?
Well, right now we've extended, expanded, however you want to call it. I said, why stop? We're going to cut it off at 2 o'clock on Friday, the Childersburg shopping spree, which means that you still have until, say, 1:50 on Friday to go spend some money and bring your receipts by, put them in the big package that we have.
Pretty good gifts given away, too.
Yes, sir. We're going to be rewarding folks with $50 gift cards, because anybody and everybody can use an extra 50 bucks at Christmas time. And it's just a way of, number one, saying thank you for shopping locally, and also it's to remind folks throughout this area that the closer to home that you spend your money, the more important it is for the things that are important to you, like your police and fire protection, other city services and things. That holds true in Sylacauga, Oak Grove, Childersburg, and all points in between. It's important because those tax dollars mean so much, and our money doesn't go that far anymore. Well, neither does the municipal coffers, the county coffers, state, federal. Those taxes are important, and if you're going to be spending money anyway, spend it with local folks any way that you possibly can.
So, again, this will be the final time we talk about this during this event in Childersburg. How does that actually work? Who can participate? What businesses, and how do people do all this?
Well, anybody can participate. We don't care if you're driving through. We've had several. I ran into some folks that were just passing through and eating lunch, and they stopped and turned in all their receipts, and they can win just like anybody else can. We're not being picky. The only thing that we ask is that you only have one receipt per day per business, and the point behind that, and if you can show that there's one in the morning and one in the afternoon, hey, that's great. You can go back again. But what we're trying to do is to keep people from coming in and getting 10 small items to get 10 receipts. That's all we're trying to do, because that puts a burden on our merchants, and we're not being picky. In fact, if anything, we're stretching the limits as far as we can. We're not going to argue with folks. If people have multiple locations, we don't care if they spend it in Childersburg or Sylacauga or Oak Grove. The idea being is that we want to promote local business throughout our area.
That's just one of many exciting events taking place in Childersburg.
Oh, absolutely. We've got a string of open houses. Keep looking at our Greater Coosa Valley Chamber of Commerce Facebook page to keep up with all of those, but there's one that's Friday and Saturday, another one that's Saturday. We're going to have another one midweek next week. We're going to have the big open house and chamber coffee / breakfast up at the Butler Harris Rainwater House from the Historical Commission. And that's going to be coming up on the 11th. And the next Tuesday, the chamber will have one from 10 to 1. There's all sorts of fun things that are going on. And we have not set the actual ribbon cutting ourselves for the new Cup of Grace in Childersburg. She's waiting on a couple of deliveries.
That's a name change, right?
Yes, it is, and it's a big one. We were just discussing. That's why I was running a minute or two late over here. You know, it's a big decision for Jennifer and Andy, but I'm behind them all the way because it is going to be a subtle change. And when they have their ribbon cutting in Sylacauga today at 9 o'clock, that's going to be, no turning back kind of thing. But she's got a heartwarming story behind the name and the logo, and that's something she'll come share with us on here. But she's done everything she can do right now. She's waiting on a few deliveries so that the health department will give their check off. So any day now they're going to be opening the doors and keep up with our chamber Facebook page and our web page, and we'll be letting you know exactly when that's going to be and scheduling blue ribbon cutting instead of just the red ones.
I'm assuming that just because there's a name change, and it may be kind of subtle, but the menu basically still the same, right?
Oh, absolutely, and she has done so much. Christy did a wonderful job getting it open, but this is Jennifer and Andy's baby now, and they have expanded the menu. They have expanded the way they do things. The still being a Christ-based business. That's the principles behind who they are and what they do, and that's an important factor, I believe. And she's staying true to that. But this is putting her own little stamp on it, and I think this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful thing.
What else is happening in Childersburg?
Well, like I said, we've got so many open houses and other holiday events. The big reason for the season coming up, I believe it's the 15th, but that's going to be at Grace Baptist Church, sponsored by the Park and Rec Department. Got too big for their britches and had to move up to something a little bit more acoustically pleasing. That's going to be a big one, and admission is, like a lot of those kind of things this time of year, a canned or boxed goods for Alabama Childhood Food Solutions. We've got the Christmas parade coming up, and our deadline is going to be the 4th, so time to get those forms in. If you need a form, they're available on our Facebook page under photos. It's up there about 5 or 6 times. You can pull it off if you'd like to. You can call. We can email you one that is what they call fillable PDF. So those don't post very well on Facebook, but you can just type it in and email it back, and we'll worry about the rest of it later. But things are getting busy.
What about the Christmas tree, the thing over there that we've been talking about? It kind of escapes me a little bit, but it starts this weekend, doesn't it? And it's something.
Now I know Sylacauga has theirs coming up here.
I got it somewhere.
Now we had our big Christmas tree lighting and other such things, but
what is that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You do. It's a big event over there. That doesn't it start? Christmas in the Pines, yeah.
Oh, Christmas in the Pines, absolutely. That's going to be starting on Friday. They'll do it this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the next weekend, and then they'll be open all the way through the 23rd. That's
now,
nightly.
Do you drive through that or walk through?
No, neither one. You pull up, you park, you go to the Christmas Village, and they have, guess what you call, hay rides, big carts that they pull folks around on. And it's a big deal. They learned a lot of lessons last year, came back this year, and it's at the historical Camoga Gristmill Park, and that's they really they got everything set up, and I know Jim and Lisa are about worn to a nub trying to get everything up, dealing with the weather as everybody else has, but yes, that's another one of those things, and we're going to be hard pressed to keep the name Childersburg instead of Christmasburg in days forward, because
the museum, is there an event taking place there?
Yes, that's going to be on the 11th. That's the second Tuesday, 8:30 in the morning. That's the Chamber Coffee open house, and they have it beautifully decorated. They have some of the most wonderful goods. This is something you're going to want to.
They know how to do that over there.
Oh, they do, and I'm getting fat just thinking about it. But it's one of the premier, long-standing holiday events in the Childersburg area, and we're glad that it's keeping up. And it's going to be kind of a little special this year. I know she doesn't like pointing attention at herself, but Sandra Donahue, who has been a mover and a shaker in Childersburg for forever, is going to be doing some traveling. So she's stepping down from her position with the Historical Preservation Commission, and this will kind of be a farewell for her. So you know it's going to be done up right.
Absolutely.
She's still going to be around, still going to be involved, but she's going to take off and do some traveling and that sort of thing.
Tom Roberts, Greater Coosa Valley Chamber of Commerce, our guest this morning here on Daybreak. Tom is with us every Wednesday morning about this time. Now, where are we on the progress of the construction on 280?
Well, they're making progress. There have been so many vehicles out there and pieces of equipment. Any time now, they're going to stick that portion of the bridge over the Childersburg-Fayetteville Highway. I have no idea what the timing is, and they're not speaking a lot about it, but at some point in time, that one's going to get closed off. Some point in time, it's going to get closed off going into downtown Childersburg. So please, go ahead right now, and if you're trying to go off of or onto Highway 280 anywhere in that vicinity, find an alternate route. It's better to have that planned and ready to go. You'll know when they're moving all the traffic from the current 280 over to the brand new 280, which is the game plan, and it'll be cutting out that traffic light at the top of the hill, which is, it's going to make things a little more difficult. But in the long run, this is going to be so much better. They still say they're on track for late summer, early fall next year to be completely done with that. But then there's all those crossovers they're going to be changing. So it's just one of those plans for progress. And the biggest thing that we can do as local citizens is to cooperate, come out a little bit early, to get where we're going, be patient, control your temper, because there's going to be plenty of reasons to lose your temper out there. And please, no road rage, and be careful. Look out every direction every time you move to try to go across or get on or get off. Be especially aware, because safety is of utmost concern. And it's a realization that we need to come to, is that yes, it's a pain. It's a royal pain. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be more dangerous. Slow down and make it as safe as possible for you and your family, knowing that it's going to be better in the long run. I was coming back up from the River Bridge area and looking at the massive width of that whole project. It's going to be more than twice as big as it used to be. That means that we're going to have a little more getting used to, but they're going to be acceleration lanes, deceleration lanes, turn lanes from every direction, and it's going to be better. We just have to be patient in the meantime.
And once this is complete, you talk about blossoming on 280 with new businesses.
Absolutely. There's already a lot of action that we're not allowed to talk about yet, because they can't start construction. But a couple of projects already underway that most folks already know about. And the old Waffle King location is going to be O'Reilly's.
That sit there vacant for so long, and it's so good to see.
And Tierra Caliente is going to be making some changes and adding an extra building and an extra business there. And there are plenty of other things, a lot of national, regional, and local interest in some of the pieces of property through there, and you're going to see things literally starting to explode over the next couple of years.
I'm asked this pretty often, and I'll pose it to you this morning. The vacant property of the former Winn-Dixie location there, anything moving on that at all?
Well, It's a little bit stuck in neutral, and it's a very easy, difficult to accept, but it's a very real situation, is that Winn-Dixie still has an active lease. They are still paying $30,000 a month for that property. And until that goes away, you have the dynamic.
That's a good problem.
Yes. The people who own the property want a fair market value for the property, along with the money that Winn-Dixie still owes them. The new grocer that has been actively recruited and committed to Childersburg is still committed to Childersburg, but he doesn't want to pay more than fair market value, and who can blame him?
How long does that contract run? Do you know?
We've got a ways to go, but there is another dynamic that we're unsure of, because that takes place far from here without our knowledge or acceptance. But because they did close this one and a number of other stores, the corporation that owns Winn-Dixie has filed for some sort of bankruptcy protection, and it's store specific. If this one ever becomes part of that and this lease becomes null and void, that can open the door for that to come. But there are other things that are going on outside of that business and that property. I know that those folks, they are wonderful, wonderful people, and people in the long run, if you can be patient, you're going to absolutely adore it. But there's plenty of other big things that are on the way, not necessarily related to that specific piece of property that, like you said, 280. If we can work on some, and we are working on, there are several entities working now to help build the infrastructure on 280 between the River Bridge and Sylacauga through Oak Grove. It's so important, but there are a number of, wow, some of the names that I've had bandied about, and they're waiting for the infrastructure that can hold up whatever they have proposed. There are a lot of things, and this whole south end of Talladega County will literally explode. And we have other things. If you're interested in developing some residential things throughout the greater Coosa Valley, let us know, see what we can do to help, see what tools are available, because that's important too. We've lost a lot of residents, people who came to work in South Talladega County but live across the river. We need to fix that dynamic and have places for them to live here. The other aspects of commerce and schools and other things, the more people you have of means that are working, pulling down good paychecks, they can help build an economy around those things. But first of all, we need a place for them to live, and new housing is something that's important.
Finally, in closing part B, employers are begging for qualified employees.
They are. This is, and we're working hard on that front, all the way to the State Board of Education, working on some things, Jimmy Dale, that will allow us to train more of our people for those good paying jobs. But in the meantime, there are a lot of employers that are hiring, and it can be as simple as passing a drug test and having a work history that shows you're going to show up for work every day. So to the young folks that are entering the workforce, those that are a part of it, before you leave a job you don't want or don't like, find another one, because that is a step up and it looks good to a future employer. If you just quit because you don't like it, that's a negative, and that's going to keep you from getting some of these jobs that Jimmy Dale just inferred to.
You mentioned about passing drug test and past employment record. We kind of say that tongue in cheek, but that's a real issue.
Oh, those are real issues. Those are two things. If you can take care of those, you can pass a drug test, and you've got a work history that shows you're going to show up. Trust me, you can get a good paying job. And they're out there. Is it going to be quick and easy? But we have a resource. No, it's not. But we do have a resource that's available through the Alabama Career Center, Angelia Todd, Yvonne Bardwell, and all the rest of them up there. They're active in our communities, and they are working hard to help facilitate those jobs. And get in touch with them. They're there. It's one of those. We have more resources in our toolbox than most people realize, Jimmy Dale. And this is something that if you don't take advantage of them, you don't know. You can't use them to move you and your family's life forward. But we have plenty of tools available to us in every single aspect of our community growth. And this is important that we start taking those things like the Thanksgiving Day meal program and everybody working together, decorating downtown Childersburg, the communities coming together and working together. Let's work together on those things, because we've proven that we can get along and work together with people we may not even like enough to move our communities forward. Let's do it in some more bigger and more meaningful ways. That's what's important.
All right, Tom, thanks for coming
Thank
this morning.
you.
Tom Roberts of the Greater Coosa Valley Area Chamber of Commerce, our guest this morning. More Daybreak Live coming up.